Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our final session in the three-part series of the New York City Public Schools Partner Certification. Today, we'll be exploring getting started with Google AI in K12 education. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Summer's almost done. Very sad. Summer is almost done, so I'm gonna put the sad face on there. Glad to see everybody here. Would love for this to be as interactive as possible. Feel free to unmute yourself. Ask me a question if you have one. There's going to be opportunities to chat. Let's begin. All right. So my name is Santi. There's a very important person. Hold on one second. If anybody's having troubles joining the meet, just feel free to leave and come back. I'll do our best to make sure everybody can get in. Okay, so I'm Santi. I helped put together this presentation with Danita Morgan, who is the K12 lead for the Mid-Atlantic region. Huge job supporting all these large school districts, particularly New York City Public Schools. Danita has a rich history supporting New York City schools. She was a teacher herself, not here today, but you will be seeing more of her throughout this year. We're going to be offering a ton of more webinars, PDs, in-person events that explore Google AI tools. And then myself, Santi Karasamy, I started this company called Project Recess 13 years ago, back when Google Docs first came out, showing people what that was. Fast forward, here we are now. So thanks everybody for joining us. A little bit more about our organization. So we're an official PD partner with New York City Schools. So if your school is interested in partnering with us, getting some, targeted sessions at your school focused on AI or something else, feel free to reach out. I'll put my email in the chat. And last thing I'll say, through the work that we did with New York City, we were recently awarded Partner of the Year from Google. Huge honor. Again, highlighting the work that New York City is doing with us. So thanks for all your support. All right, let's get started. Again, we got some questions here. I want to see what people are doing in terms of AI, in terms of your work. Feel free to put this in the chat. Please name a work task that takes up way too much of your time. So if you think about it, Alexis, thank you for kicking it off. If you think about it, what's taken up a lot of your time the past couple years? Is it grading, lesson plans, messaging parents? Yes. Thank you, everybody. This is great. I love this because we see a lot of the same things. A lot of people are going through similar challenges. It doesn't matter what school you're at or what borough you're at. Emails, IEPs, unit plans, lesson plans, grading, feedback. A lot of this is like similar work. So thank you, everybody, for sharing it. Feel free to keep adding to the chat what's taking up a lot of your time. So I'm sure you all see where we're going with this. These AI tools can really support this work, the stuff that's taking up a lot of your time. All right, so let's move on. And this is just sort of like a vibe check, pulse check. How familiar are you with using Gemini, which is Google's chatbot? It can be a 1 if you're not that familiar, 5 if you're a power user, where you'll be leading this session soon enough. This is great. I love seeing people that are brand new to it. You're in for a treat. So we have some 1s here, 2.5, very, Holly, 5, thank you. Very nice, some other 5s in there, thank you. Dianca, 5, thank you. I love this. Christina, you dislike using these types of things? I would love to hear more. Feel free to put in the chat or unmute yourself. I mean, these things, yes, as wonderful as they are to help with work, it's a double-edged sword. There are some challenges. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I love to hear, the challenges that people are having with this as well. So, Christina, if you want to add in the chat or share, I'm curious to hear about that too. Everyone else? Yes, absolutely. 100%, Jason, teaching responsible use. Absolutely. So we have a mix of folks here that are familiar with this tool. This is a brief overview of what we're going to attempt to go through today. We're going to explore what the Gemini app is. Within the Gemini app, you have this thing called Canvas, Gems, Deep Research. We're going to show you how these tools work. We'll discuss like ethical ways, how we can leverage these tools, how to be safe. Notebook LM, one of my favorite AI tools, also put out by Google, Google Vids. All right, main goal, I'm going to learn about these things, experiment with these things, and offer some useful resources. There's a parking lot document in here. I'm going to put the link to the actual document in the chat. This is the same document we've used in previous sessions. So if you want an idea of what questions people are asking, you can take a look. If there's a new question that you want to add, feel free to put it in there. Parking lot doc. All right, so I just put it in the chat. Christina, thank you so much for sharing that. You worry about these systems gathering a lot of information about you, etc. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Everyone should have, you know, that concern about any big company gathering information about you, especially now. We're gonna touch on this topic a lot. One of the main reasons, I would say the main reason why I personally am a fan of using Gemini and Google AI tools within New York City is that just like your Outlook email, it has gone through this very serious, rigorous security process to make sure that the data that you're emailing your colleagues about, emailing your students about is protected. And so I got a question coming up, you know, asking what tools people are using, but the fact of the matter is like many people are using ChatGPT. The issue with that is that ChatGPT has not yet, at least to my knowledge, completed this security process. And so, Christina, to your point, if you're putting, you know, PII, personally identifiable information into ChatGPT, such as information about yourself or your students, that company is scraping that data and saving it and using it to train its future AI models. And that's not necessarily safe or ethical. However, with Google Gemini, it's gone through that process. So the things that you feel comfortable sharing in your Outlook email or in your at school's Google Drive, all of that stuff is protected. And that stuff is not being saved. It's not being used for training data. So there's a lot that we should be cautious about in terms, not even AI, just the internet in general. But at least with this particular tool within New York City, it's gone through that IRMA approval process or the security process where that data is protected. But that's a very real concern, Christina. I appreciate you putting that in there. Yes, you know, Jason, good. Like a lot of us are using a combo of AI tools. I'll say this, Microsoft Copilot is also an approved safe tool. So a lot of people will use Gemini and Copilot, you know, side by side to get the best output. But those two are safe and secure. All these other ones, ChatGPT, all these other ones, Grok, DeepSeek, definitely not, you know, protected, not protecting your data within New York City. So I personally would stay away from those tools with like school-based work. That being said, I just put the link to the parking lot document in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to add them. It's a editable Google Doc. You can see what other questions people have. Danita, myself, some other folks, we're gonna do our best to go through, answer them, get you some questions. Moving on. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Feel free to unmute. Next, okay. So the whole purpose of these partner certification sessions that are happening in the summer, spring, and fall, Jose Perez is in charge of that. Shout outs to him. The whole purpose of these sessions is to get you all certified in a particular tool. Google just put out, sure. I'll put out this that link one more time. No problem at all. I'll pin it. Hold on, parking lot. This should be it. Okay, I'm gonna pin this, meaning if you leave the chat and come back, it should still be there. All right, so the purpose of these sessions, these partner certification sessions, again, that Jose Perez is in charge of. Once again, shout outs. Jose, I don't know if you're with us on this session. Thank you for all your work. So the whole purpose of this is to get folks certified in a particular tool. Google recently put out a brand new certification in using Google AI tools. Like this is March 19th, 2025, all right? Like very new. So the whole purpose of this free, I think it takes 2 hours or less. I think it takes less to go through. So you go through this self-paced online free course, and then you get this really wonderful badge that says that you've been certified in going through Google's AI curriculum in learning how to use Gemini and these other tools. So I'm going to put the link to this. Again, I'm going to email everybody all of these things. Okay, so you don't have to worry about, I'll give you the link in a little bit. You don't have to worry about going off and finding the link, but this is the certification that we're recommending teachers to take. Again, self-paced, it's free. You know, I think it took me like less than an hour to go through. And then you get this badge that you can put on your LinkedIn profile or your email signature. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Next. We have something fun here. All right. So this is some information that Danita put together just to give us an idea of how quickly this stuff is moving. If you've done this before, you know, give some other folks a chance to answer it right. Please don't Google the answers. Let's do something quick, something interactive. How many years did it take each of these different industries, inventions? How long did it take them to get to 50 million users? All right, so this is kind of like a game show thing we're doing right now. So let's start with airplanes. So thinking about the Wright brothers to now, I just read an article yesterday of some airlines thinking about having standing seats so you can fit more people in there. Crazy. Coming to a Spirit Airlines near you, I'm sure. All right, so from the Wright brothers to where we are now with planes, how long did it take to get to 50 million users to start riding airplanes? So feel free to put it in the chat. Start throwing out numbers. Did it take, thank you, Carla, 30 years, 60 years, 10 years? John, did you Google these? 50, 25, 10, 20 to 30. Okay. Hey, I've gone on Spirit Airlines too. Why are they charging me to wear shoes to go on the plane though? Okay. Airplanes, how long did it take to reach 50 million users? 68 years. All right. So there's some folks that were pretty close over there. Right there. Yeah, John, you're very close. Gina, close enough. All right. 68 years. Also contextual, right? I mean, early back then, 68 years ago, if you told somebody to get into this metal flying machine, yeah, there's going to be some apprehension. But it took 68 years to get 50 million people on planes. Next, the internet, starting from its, you know, origins as a military invention to AOL dial-up, which they recently ended. I'm surprised it lasted this long, to where we are now with Wi-Fi. How long did it take to reach 50 million users for the internet? All right, so I'm seeing some, okay, 10, 20, 30, nice, 5, 15. All right, throw some guesses in there. 50 million users for the internet, and the answer is 7 years. Okay, so we're seeing a trend here. All right, so airplanes, 68 years. Internet, to 50 million users globally, it took 7 years. Facebook, who remembers that? 2004, 2005, universities only. It was called the Facebook. Your feed was mainly of cats and people's kids. I miss those days. How long did it take to get to 50 million users? We're talking months. You had to sign a petition to get at your school. Nice. I think we did too. Facebook, 3 years. 3 years to reach 50 million users. All right. Lastly, generative AI. So this includes ChatGPT, Claude, Google Gemini, all these. 1 minute. Jason, yes. Generative AI, 50 million users. How long did it take to reach 50 million users? All right, we're saying 1 year, 5 weeks. Okay, so like that's incredible. Again, all of this is contextual. I think it yes, wow, indeed. So I think things become more viral these days. We're all connected, so it's easier for things to go, you know, to be adopted. But like, just like was there a question? Okay. If there's a question, feel free to raise your hand, put your answer in the chat. Okay. So 5 weeks. So personally, okay, that's incredible. 5 weeks, 50 million users. Personally, why did it take such a short amount of time for it to reach that many users? These generative AI tools are so incredibly useful. It doesn't matter if you're an educator. It doesn't matter if you're in banking. It doesn't matter if you run a deli. It doesn't matter what your background is. So these systems like Gemini, like ChatGPT, like the way that they work, they're trained on every piece of writing on the internet. That in itself is mind-blowing. So think of every news article, every report, every social media content, all of that text in the internet has been put into this system, and it uses this algorithm to, it's like a very sophisticated predictive text. You ask a question, it takes all of that information and it gives you an answer in the format that you're looking for. Like this invention is incredible. At the same time, like it's so useful, right? So I'm going to go over how we as educators can use it. But the reason why this is so popular, again, it doesn't matter what your background is. Like you can use this to really expedite your thought process. It can be a really great thought partner with, you know, expanding your ideas, creating resources. It's amazing. All right. So just really quickly, again, some information about Gemini. Many people are using ChatGPT. I get it. If you're, I urge you not to use it per se for New York City public school stuff, just because it hasn't gone through that security process. All right. If you want to use it in your personal life or asking general questions, sure. But if you just want to make sure that your data is private, let's say you want to analyze like a spreadsheet with student names and maybe, you know, their OSIS numbers or whatever are on there, like you would feel okay having that spreadsheet in your Google Drive, and then know that you can also have that same protection in Gemini. All right. Yes, Holly, absolutely. Absolutely. Many people are using it as their thoughts and not an assistive tool. Yes, agreed. That is a huge issue that we're facing. There's a study out there that I want to look at. It looked at people's like brains and like like the amount of gray matter or how their brains are functioning now versus the past 2 years before generative AI. And like, yeah, there's a decline. So there are, just like anything, there are best ways to use this. There's a lazy way where you can let this think for you, or there's a better way where you can use this to supercharge your actual thinking. All right, so all this to say, Google Gemini is private. It's gone through that security process. You can feel confident using it with your New York City schools accounts. Okay, so Google has, you know, specific approaches to using AI. As mentioned here, we're going to share the slide deck with everybody. There's different learning principles that are used in terms of your responses. So you're not just getting the answer, but if you want, you can have these tools, you know, walk you through the thought process of learning a particular topic. At the end of the day, this stuff is meant for having a TA for every educator, a tutor for every learner. And really, this is an assistant for every, not even educational leader. It's an assistant for anyone if you use it correctly. All right. Okay. So we're going to get into the live demos. One last interactive thing here. I would love to hear in the chat, how are you using AI now? Or how are you thinking about using it? Whether it's your work, your personal life, how are you using AI now? Feel free to put it in there. Maybe you're using it to help you with your emails. Maybe you're using it. Thank you, Carla. Co-planner, very nice. Prep lessons. So for those of us that are brand new to using AI, maybe you rated yourself a 1 with Gemini. Here are some examples of how people are using AI right now, generative AI, in the future for differentiation. Gina, thank you. Thank you. Polish emails. Wonderful. Okay. Newsletters. Thank you. Thank you. Jason, I do the same thing. Yes, yes, yes. Create lessons. Okay. All right, let's get started with using this thing. All right, so Gemini. How do we creating funny images? Hey, Nick, good to see you on there. Yeah, these things can make funny images. Like I feel like every meme right now is AI generated, for better or worse. All right, so creating scripts for video class. Nice, nice, nice. All right, I'm going to share my screen right here. So this is Gemini. How did I get here? One, you need to be signed into your Google or your DOE account. Okay, so I have a DOE training account. I'm signed in. Here's my @schools email. I did the 2-factor thing. All right, how do you get here? Hello, hello. I'm gonna put this in the chat also. So that's how you get to Gemini, and I'll pin that. Okay, so easy. Open up a new tab. Go to gemini.google.com. If you want it also, open up a new tab. I'm going to share this. Our good friend, the waffle, these 9 dots up here, used to look more like a waffle. These are short. Many people use this to have shortcuts to your Google Drive, your Sheets. There's a Gemini link over here also. Oh, look, you can move it around. Maybe you want that Gemini link right there at the top. Okay. And then this is a foreshadowing also. There's also Notebook LM that you can move up to the. I'm going to move this all the way up here. This is a top shelf app right there. Okay. So you can access Gemini by clicking on the waffle and going to Gemini, or as I put in the chat, you can go to gemini.google.com. All right, looking at this, you see the 3 horizontal lines at the top left. These are your previous chats and your gems. I'm going to talk about what those are. Okay, Robin, good to see you. Feel free to jump in at any moment if you want to add anything. So Gemini, if you look at it, it's organized very similar to all the existing AI tools out there. Okay, your Chat GPTs, your Claude, and they all work similarly. Okay, so if I type in, I'm a 4th grade teacher and I want your help in generating a lesson plan exploring the life cycle of the butterfly. Okay, so you can put anything in there. The more context, the better. Notice I said, what grade I teach, and yeah, I'm talking about that. This could be a much better prompt, but if you've never seen something like this before, this is a prompt, essentially a question or a directive that you're asking the AI. I'm going to hit send. It's going to process that information. And again, it's going to pull from its library of text that it has. Whoops, let me try this one more time. All right. It's going to process, it's going to go through it. Exactly. It's only as good as the prompt you give it. Okay. And so what it is, as I mentioned before, like these tools sometimes will not work when you're doing a live demo, which is fine. I love that this happened. If you get this, I'm going to refresh the page. I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to copy that. And so you cross your fingers. Hopefully it works. It's going to process it. Okay, here we go now. All right. So I'm actually glad that happened. Sometimes, if you think about it, 50 million users, you got a lot of people using these tools. There's going to be a hiccup at some point. So as you saw, I gave it a prompt and it said that there was an issue. In my 13 years supporting teachers using technology, one of the main ways that you can solve a problem is by refreshing your browser or restarting your computer. That took care of like 90% of the issues that we've encountered. So same applies here. So as you can see here, I gave it this prompt and it gave me this lesson plan. Okay. I think at this point, we've all seen this. Now, how do we take it a step further? As you can see, it took the lesson plan and it automatically put it into Canvas. You see it's highlighted. And what Canvas is, it's just a different view of your chat. And so what Canvas is that you see the resource on the right. All right, so here's my lesson plan. And then you have your Gemini AI chat on the left. So with these AI tools, like I implore everyone, don't be lazy about it. And what I mean by that, as Jason was saying in the chat, yes, I love Canvas, Robin, absolutely. Your prompts are not going to be perfect the first time you send it in, especially if you're a brand new teacher or anyone using these tools for the first time. So I sent this prompt, right? I'm a 4th grade teacher. I want your help in generating a lesson plan, exploring the life cycle of the butterfly. There's a lot I left out. How long I want this lesson plan to be. Information about my students. Maybe they're L's. Maybe they speak a different language. Maybe I need more culturally relevance like tied into it. Maybe I want 0 tech in there. Maybe I want a lot of tech in there. And so it's so easy to be lazy with this and just take this lesson plan, but you really want to give it as much context as possible. And it's a chat bot. You want to chat back and forth with it. Let's see, Claudia, can you download PDFs to help you create lessons? Yeah. No, absolutely. So that's the amazing thing. So since this went through that security IRMA approval process, it's linked with your DOE. If I wanted to give this more context, if I wanted this to include standards, check this out. There's a plus button at the bottom down here. I can upload files from my computer or my school Google Drive. So I can upload ISTE standards or next generation standards or whatever standards and say, hey, actually tailor this to incorporate these standards. And if you don't have those standards in mind, look at this. Again, these things, it has a lot of content on existing work. So if I wanted to say, update, let's see, update this lesson plan to be 1 30-minute session, comma, I want you to include or make this relevant to half of my class that are Spanish speakers, and also include ISTE standards listed to be 1 30-minute lesson. I want you to make this relevant for, I'll say my class. Spanish speakers also cool. Okay, so I added an update. I'm gonna send it in. So I asked it to update the time. I wanna make it relevant for ELs, and then I wanna include ISTE standards. Okay, so again, you go back and forth with it. Oh, do I have a PDF teacher's prompt guide? So that course that I talked about earlier, there's a prompt in there. I'll email that to you when I email the recording and everything. But Benny, I'm gonna be honest with you. With the prompts, honestly, man, there's so many acronyms on like how to make a good prompt. At the end of the day, just give it as much context as possible. Just like I've read earlier that the people who are the best at using these tools are educators, because you know how to ask good questions and you know what you're looking for. And so that's it. You just got to treat this as like a highly intelligent assistant that's going to help you, create resources, and you're just going back and forth with it. But that being said, there are many prompt libraries and resources. I'll include that in the follow-up email. So check this out. I asked it to update the lesson. What I love about Canvas is that it highlighted what it changed, made it 30 minutes, identify the 4 stages of the butterfly in English and Spanish. All right, so it has a translation already on there. And so again, double check the work. There's a word that has become very popular nowadays. The word is hallucination. And what that means within the AI context is when an AI gives you information that's not correct. And every AI system has the ability to hallucinate, because these things are just creating stuff on the fly based on prior knowledge. So it's not going to be 100% accurate all the time. So definitely, especially with translations, make sure that it makes sense, So you have all this in Spanish, you got the materials, and then I asked about ISTE standards right here. Again, double check, make sure that works. But in terms of something that saves time, not starting from scratch, not reinventing the wheel, taking your existing ideas and expanding on them. What I love is that we did a session with a bunch of, we've been doing a million of these sessions. And one of the best, insights I received from a teacher is that he said, there's so much focus on using these tools to be faster and easier. But what the real value of these, I believe, what he was saying is that these can make your resources better and more engaging. So you already have really great resources that you've used over the years. So you can just really make them even more differentiated using these tools, right? Maybe you have a class of 15, with physical disabilities, and you wanted AI's help with modifying your lesson to support them. You can do that with this. Taking it even further, we all are using certain curricula, HMH, Wit and Wisdom, what have you. You can take some of that curriculum, you write like a unit or a page or whatever, upload it to Gemini, and then further tailor that to your class. And you can have it create PDFs for you they can download, or help you with a lesson plan. So again, since this all went through the security process and it's all fair use, you as an educator would be doing that manually. You would look at that lesson plan and you would modify it to fit your class. Now you have this assistant that's on 24/7 that's ready to support you with that work. Yasuko, can you download multiple PDF documents? You can upload multiple documents. You can upload, from your drive. You can choose, different ones, upload those in there, and then say, hey, create a, help me develop a lesson plan based on these resources, or what have you, summarize them, what have you. Okay, so again, these tools work similarly to all the existing AI tools out there. And again, since it's synced with your Google Drive, check this out. You can click this share export. You can export this to a Google Doc. You can copy it. If you export to a Google Doc, opens up a new tab. We've all seen this before. Here it is. It took all that content. Now it's in a Google Doc that you can share with your colleagues. You can put it into Google Classroom. You can modify this however you want. And again, that was in Gemini using this share and export. Taking it a step further, we're just taking a lot of steps right now. There's a create button, and you can make a web page, an infographic, a quiz, or something else. Like, this is crazy right here. Look at this. Like, so again, these things are really great at creating text. Like we've all seen, making a lesson plan. Check this out. Now take the vocabulary words in this and create an interactive game that I can share with my students to learn the vocabulary. I'm asking it to create an interactive game. What's going to happen? So I sent that in. The AI is processing that request, and we'll see what happens. I asked it to create an interactive game, and we're all waiting with anticipation to see what it's going to do. As that's going, I just want to point out, if you look, okay, so right now the AI is coding for me. It took my request. It said, all right, you want to make an interactive vocabulary matching game? I got you. So I don't know if anybody on the call is into computer science, but it's coding right now. This is the vocabulary that it's going to use. Wow, I've not seen this one before. Okay, butterfly vocabulary match. Click 2 cards to find a match. Butterfly metamorphosis. Oh, the Spanish. Okay. Oh, interesting. Wow. Okay. That just created this game in like 3 minutes. Can you add images? And okay, I'm gonna do that again. I'll do that again in a second. So I just want to take a step back. We opened up Gemini. We had it create a lesson plan. I said, all right, let's have fun with this. I asked it to create an interactive game, and it did this. So again, when I say this stuff is trained on every piece of writing online, that also means it's trained on like how to code. Hundreds of books on that. I don't know if people remember the Matrix, where you can just like upload something to your brain. This thing has everything already. And so you can ask it to do it. So you can ask it to include images. You can ask it to update the color. Let's actually really like the colors. Like, let's say update the colors to represent an autumn theme using reds and oranges. I'm just going to see what's going to happen. So again, chatbot, go back and forth until you get the thing that you want. That's just, updating the color, but you can have it update the content also. And so what's amazing is that, and I'm going to show this, you have this interactive game. How do you share it? At this point, you can just play it within this, but there's a different version. I'll show you a way where you can actually export this interactive game and share it with your students. Man, an hour is never enough for this session. It's revising. Okay, I'll wait for it to revise. Okay, but in the meantime, okay, as it's doing its thing, I'm going to switch to a new tab. All right, and I'm going to go to Google Sites, sites.google.com. Okay, everybody, every DOE staff member and student has access to sites.google.com, right? The OG Google site. So you can make a Google site. I made a bunch of different ones here. All right. So these are the other games I made. I'm just going to make a brand new one. Okay. So you can make matching game. You can make a Google site. And when obviously you can add text, images to a site, but there's also an option that I never really used before until Gen AI came out. you can embed computer code in here, HTML. And where do you get that code? You can get it straight from Gemini. Oh, look, it's done. It updated the game to be more autumn-like. Okay, so this is your preview. There's another tab here that says code. So if I click share, I can copy the code here. This is all computer code that I just copied. And if I go back to my Google site, I can just paste this code in here. And now I've just embedded this game that I just made into a Google site that I can now, this you can share. This you can share with your students. You can put it in Google Classroom. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Okay, yeah. Someone just asked, yeah, how would students access this? I just put it in the chat. So that's a question I get a lot. Can you see their scores? No, you can't see their scores. This is more just practice that they can do on their own. So you would make sure that the content of the game is actually accurate, and then let me share that. And then you would make sure that that it's accurate, and then you would share it with your kids. But I just put it in the chat. Yes. I'm recording everything. I'm recording this whole thing, and I'm going to share it with you all. Yes, you can review it later. But this is wild. Okay, man, 10:38 already. All right. So how do we do this? We went to gemini.google.com. We had it create something, in this case, a lesson plan. And then I asked it to create an interactive game covering X, whatever you want. And then it did it. Pretty incredible. All right. Let me go back to my slide deck that I abandoned. I just want to show something. So yes, Gemini is available for every member in New York City Public Schools. That's how you get to it, gemini.google.com. Real quickly, I just want to shout out this right here. At the top left, there's a drop down, and you can choose your different AI model. Today, you have access to 2.5 Flash and Pro. The difference is Flash is going to work a little bit faster. You can use that for your daily tasks, creating lesson plans. But if you wanted to make, let's say you wanted to get, like ask some questions that are like high level math, or like do some high level coding, you can select 2.5 Pro, and it gives you a little bit more in-depth answers. Pauline O'Brien, hello. I believe we worked together in the past. Yes, you can purchase it on FAMUS, Pauline. You can purchase an individual license. I think it's like $130 for the whole year, and then you would have higher limits, access to Gemini and all these different apps. In my follow-up email, I'll send you the actual like FAMUS link. But if you go there now and search Gemini, you can get an individual license.
Okay.
Thank you. And you can buy one or a few. So if you have like a pilot team of teachers that are, really leaning into this, you can just buy a handful of licenses for them. And even if you don't do that, if you use the free version, like the limits are pretty high. It's only if you're a pro user, you might reach like how many limits with your chats.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you, Robin. Right. Okay, Pro has unlimited prompts. Has limited prompts. Yes. So if you do run into like your limit, then it resets every day. Okay, and that's with the free version. I think that's with the Pro version too. I'll double check, but I'm gonna send this in the follow-up email. So you can choose your different AI model, and then I have view 1 and view 2. This is what your prompt window would look like. Essentially, these tools are updated all the time. Like every time I run a session, I'm like, oh, I've not seen that before. So your prompt window might look like this, where it says deep research in Canvas, or it might say tools, and then you click on that, and then you have it down here. It's all the same, okay, in terms of like functionality and like how to get to that. It's just like the visuals might be a little bit different. All right. So a glimpse of what AI can do. I just did that. All right. So let me move on to the next thing. Hold on one second. Okay. So again, I use a different prompt. Canvas is where it breaks the screen up into two. I'm a big fan of that format where you have your resource on the right and then your chat on the left. If you don't click Canvas, that's fine. You just have your traditional looking chat window where You have what you said, and you have what AI said, and you go back and forth. I like Canvas because I think it's easy, like especially if you're working on an email or a lesson plan, you have those options of exporting it to a Google Doc like this, okay? And then in Canvas, I want to point this out. This is not necessarily that noticeable or apparent. If I scroll all the way to the top and then I just look at my chat, all your artifacts, all your resources are here in the chat. So if I click on this and it says open, it brings me to my original lesson plan. If I scroll down and I wanted that game again, it's here. All right. So depending on what you're doing, depending on what you want to go back to, it's all in your chat. You just got to scroll back up. It's like, oh, I want the lesson plan again. Here it is. And then again, you can export this to your Google Docs. You can create different things. All right. That game that I made, it's just down here, and you would open that up. Okay. Next. So that's Canvas. I showed you how we can update it. Okay. Gems. Let me talk about this real quick. This is pretty exciting too. So if I click on the 3 lines here, lovingly known as the hamburger, you have your recent chats. You have gems, which I'm going to talk about. And then there's a search bar here, or a window where you can search specific chats in your history. At the moment, you cannot delete a chat. I'm not exactly sure why. I think that's related to maybe privacy. I'm not sure. I need to double check. So all my chats that I ever had with Gemini in my New York City account, it's all in there and it's all messy. But there's certain things you can do to help organize it. If you click on these 3 dots, you can rename your chat to give it a name that will help you find it, or you can pin them. If you pin a chat, it's just like in Outlook, it's going to show up at you can rename it, and then it shows up at the top. All your pinned chats are at the top, and then all your other chats are at the bottom. Okay, so again, at the moment, you cannot delete a chat. That may or may not change in the near future. And then there's something here. You see how there's a blue dot next to this? So that's a deep research, which I will talk about. I'm going to get to everything in the next 15 minutes, hopefully. But this means that this research is done, and I'll show what that looks later. All right, so just quickly, what is a gem? So if you look at a traditional chat in Gemini, it's pulling from all of these different resources, right? That's why if I say create a lesson plan, it's creating something. It knows everything. Think about gems as a personalized chatbot that you already pre-programmed with different prompts. For example, I have a field trip planner on here. Okay, so I could use a regular chat in Gemini and say, hey, I'm a middle school teacher in the Bronx. I want to take my kids to a field trip that explores science. And I can go back and forth. Or I have this gem, again, it's a personalized chatbot. So if I just say 4th grade English, all right, it's running through this set of instructions that I already gave it. All right, so it's going to look at the grade that I put in, and it's going to look at the subject, and it's going to offer me something tailored because I already put that prompt in, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. I see. Thank you. Thank you for e-discovery. Thank you for giving me that information about why we cannot delete chats. Okay, look. So again, I pre-programmed this particular gem with instructions to give me information about field trips. So all I did was say 4th grade English, and then it gave me storytelling adventure to the Queens County Farm. First of all, shout out to anyone that's gone to the Queens County Farm. I'm a big fan of that place. Did not even know that that place existed. So it's recommending that. It's giving me some, it's recommending some activities that we can do there. Bringing characters to life at a local theater. All right, things we can do at the New York City Public Library. All these things on here. Rob, the Queens County Farm. How do they know the area where you teach? Gina, I put in the instructions already. So that's a good question. That's a good segue. What does this look like? All right, this field trip planner, if I hit edit, this is what the gem looks like under the hood, okay? So here, These are the instructions. Act as a field trip planner to assist middle school teachers in developing field trip ideas. So I guess I didn't give it a particular location, but I think I said it's in New York. You know, greet the user, provide 3 to 5 detailed field trips ideas, overall tone. So it's doing all this, but I didn't write all of this. I wrote like a general idea, and then AI made it more, it fleshed it out. Let's do it from the beginning, okay? So again, I'm gonna show you what this looks like. We're in Gemini. I'm in my left side panel. I'm gonna go to Explore Gems. You have gems that were made by Google that you can test out. These are the different gems that I've created. Lesson plan generator, examining student claims, student feedback, and I uploaded like rubrics in there that it can pull from. For the school leaders, this can help organize teacher observations. You can upload your low inference notes. I uploaded the Danielson rubric on there, and it streamlines what the observation looked like, and then you get to read it and decide and make sure that it makes sense. But for this case, I'm going to make a new gem. All right, I'm going to click on new gem. All right, I'm going to let's stick with the field trip one just for the sake of time. Field trip planner number 4. All right, here. You will greet me and ask what grade I teach as well as what subject I teach, and then you will help me identify potential field trips I can take my students to in New York City, period. I want you to include how much the field trips are, how long it takes to get there, period. Our school is located in South Bronx, period, and include what we can do with our students in your response. Okay, so again, you're pre-programming it. I could leave it as is, or I can click on this use Gemini to rewrite. And if I click on that, it's going to take my existing instructions. It's going to beef it up. It's going to add more context in there. Okay. Assist, teachers in planning, provide personalized recommendations. Okay. And then we can test it out. All right. I'm just going to hit save. Now I have this field trip planner. Instead of going back and forth with prompts every time, I can say, hi, I teach high school social studies. All right, so again, it's going through the pre-programmed, is it located? Yes. It's going through the pre-programmed instructions, and it's gonna do its processing thing, and then it's gonna give me, if all goes well, it's gonna suggest field trips. So as this is processing, so know that you have those 2 ways of, at least those 2 ways of interacting with Gemini. All right, here we go. And it gave me some recommendations. Tenement Museum, African Burial Ground National Monument. I don't even know where that is. And so you can learn a lot from this too. Federal Hall National Memorial. Okay, so what's the difference between a gem and a regular Gemini chat? Again, Gemini chat, manual, got to go back and forth and give it all the prompts then and there. With a gem, you're pre-programming it. So think about using a gem when you're doing a task that you do over and over again. Think about the question that I asked you all in the beginning of this session. What's taking up most of your time? Lesson planning, grading, polishing up emails. So think about what gems you can make to help streamline that process, where you can just paste in some text. Maybe it's gonna use a rubric that you uploaded to go through student feedback, and it'll help you with that process. Okay, so you can test out gems. Again, this is all free. You can test it out. I know we don't have that much time left, so I want to jump to actually one last thing here in Gemini. If there are any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. I know it's a lot of information for 1 hour, but I want to go over one more thing here. So as you can see down here, I have the options of canvas and image. You can generate an image. As Nick was saying, you can make funny images on here. And I'm currently in 2.5 Pro, all right? I'm gonna switch to 2.5 Flash, again, quicker responses. And now I have something that says deep research. And I believe if you buy the extended AI license on FAMUS, you can do deep research in 2.5 Pro. How do you upload the rubric? Yeah, absolutely. You would just, in the in the gem or even in your regular chat, you just click on the plus button right here, and you would upload the file either from your computer or from your Google Drive. You would click on the rubric, and then you can say, hey, use this rubric and analyze the following text. Yes, no, we're going to be offering a lot of PDs like this in the future. Okay, so keep an eye out, keep checking the EdTech portal. There's going to be a lot of these sessions coming up. So taking a step back, I just switched to 2.5 Flash, and there's a new option called Deep Research. This is amazing. What Deep Research is, you can ask it a specific research question or any question. So what I've been testing out, you know, there's a cell phone ban coming up. So a research question that I've been asking is, how are existing schools in New York State, as well as nationally and globally? I'm just going to put this on there right now. I'm the principal of a middle school in Jamaica, Queens, period. We want to create a cell phone ban policy that is bell to bell in our school, period. I want you to research existing cell phone ban policies within New York State, as well as other states, as well as globally, and let me know the approaches that work and that I can adopt for our school. Right? So you can ask a question like that. And then if I hit submit and make sure that deep research is selected, AI is going to process my question. And then it's going to give me a research plan on what it's going to do. All right. So it's looking through that. And then it's saying, okay, I'm gonna research the internet and do that. I'm gonna research existing cell phone policies in New York State, find similar policies and supporting documentations, and investigate and analyze the cell phone. It's gonna do all these things. And you can modify this if you want. And then I'll hit start research. And what it's doing is incredible. It's gonna check like 150 different websites and put together an incredibly detailed report on this question. So as that's cooking, I'm going to go back to my chat, and you see this blue dot? This is from the last session I did. Okay, so here we go. Same idea. I'm a school leader, create a cell phone ban bell to bell, research existing cell phone ban plans that exist. Okay. And so this is what it did. It created this report, executive summary, overview of the New York State and NYC mandate, and it's giving me where it got this information from. There's a little arrow here that's giving me citations of where it's pulling this information from. So it's less likely that there's a hallucination because it's citing where it got its information. Okay, summary of key benefits. So like, yeah, someone would have to sit down and read this very robust, detailed report on a cell phone ban. And again, this can be any question you have. Compelling case for bell-to-bell policies, evidence and impact. This is insane. All right. Again, information where they're pulling it from. If I scroll all the way down, oh man, look at this. These are all the different websites that it used to create this report. New York City Schools website, Chalkbeat, CBS News, 74 million. My goodness. I do this all the time, and I'm still like floored by how detailed and like where it's pulling this information from. So this is like 100 different websites. If we were to do this manually, one person, how long would this take you to do this? All right. Okay. So now you have this incredible report. You can export this as a Google Doc. Look at this. You can create a web page, an infographic, a quiz, same thing. If I export this as a Google Doc, I'll show you what I'll do next in the 4 minutes that we have. So I exported this as a Google Doc, and then there's one last AI tool that I want to show you that, oops, hold on one second. Hold on. Sometimes there's too much text. Okay. Okay. Here it is. All right, so I exported to a Google Doc. There's one last tool I want to show you before you leave. Notebook LM. Notebook LM. Let me get it. Oops. Let me make sure I have the URL for everybody. All right, I'm just going to jump right into it. Okay, if you've not used Notebook LM before, this is an incredibly powerful tool for analyzing data. notebooklm.google.com. I just put it in the chat, and I'm going to pin that too. Notebook LM also has gone through the IRMA approval process, also free for New York City staff. One thing to note, Gemini, Notebook LM, only available for adults, only available for staff, teachers, school leaders. Students don't have access to it at the moment. So we are using this to help us with our resource, with our data. Notebook LM, how does this work? All right, I'm going to click on an existing notebook I have. So I've uploaded this K12 policy document that I created in deep research. And now when I interact with it, it's only pulling from that resource. So if I say, what are the top 3 ideas from this document, right? It's only going to pull information from there. Excuse me. So this is incredible because with your regular Gemini chat, it's pulling from information everywhere. But if you want to get super specific and let's say, pull information from chancellor's regs or your school newsletter or the parent handbook or these 3, resources on education, and you want to synthesize that information, you can upload these to a notebook, and then using the power of AI, you can analyze that. So here, it gave me the top 3 ideas from this research. Again, it's using citations. You got some footnotes on here. And then if you've not seen this, this is wild right here. In addition to having an interactive chat with this, you can create a podcast that summarizes this document, an audio overview. So here, let me play this for you. You should be able to hear this.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and give you those essential insights you need to be, truly well-informed. Today, we're diving into something that's really moved from sci-fi straight into our classrooms. Artificial intelligence in K-12 education. We've got a stack of sources, a big report on developing K-12 AI policy.
Yeah, so that was an AI voice, and there's another voice on there too, a woman. It sounds so real. And so this created a 35-minute audio podcast exploring this document. So if you didn't have time to sit down and read it, you can be on the train, you can be driving, and you can have this AI summary of this. Yes, Claude, this is free for New York City teachers. In addition to the, one more, listen to the other AI voice.
AI literacy, using AI to actually enhance teaching and learning, and putting safeguards in place against risks like bias, privacy issues. They even see it.
Okay, so it created an audio summary. You can go to settings, you can change the output language. So if you're a teacher, you can upload your lesson in here and you can output an audio podcast in these different languages for students that may have missed school that day, or maybe have students that are just better at thank you, everybody. If you got to leave, understand. I'll wrap this up in the next 5 minutes and I'll hang around if you have any questions. But in addition, this is new also, in addition to making, it does sound natural, which is scary. In addition to making audio podcasts, you can now make videos. What does that look like? So if I click on this video was made with the content of this report.
AI isn't some sci-fi concept anymore. Nope. It's here and it's flooding into our schools at an incredible speed.
Okay, so it created this.
How many school devices would have AI features? Can we make this work? Is really what sets the stage for this whole story.
It's essentially a slideshow, images and text over there. So again, if you put your lesson plan in, it can create this video for you. So pretty wild. Notebook LM. I know people have to go. Just real quickly, I'm going to put up the QR code for feedback. Yeah, this is a lot of information here. Here, just real quickly. Again, I'll hang out for another 5 minutes. If you are able to, please answer this feedback form. I'm going to put the link in the chat. I'll put the link in the chat right now. And then if you need CTLE credit hours, I will also put that in the chat. Please answer this feedback. Thank you so much. I'm glad people found it amazing. Please add that in this feedback link right here. Nick, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So yeah, please fill out this feedback. If if you're interested, yeah, I didn't even get to that. So okay. I put the link in the chat for the feedback. I'm going to pin it. Please answer it. I'm going to show you all one more thing that you all have access to. Yeah, Javier, there's going to be more of these sessions. Keep an eye out. We'll email you. I'm going to show everybody one more thing. Check this out. Everybody here has used Google Classroom, I'm going to assume. First of all, Google Classroom is 10 years old now. Can you believe it? So check it out. New for this year, Google added a Gemini tab in your Google Classroom. And so you have the power of Gemini already built into your Google Classroom. You can outline a lesson plan, generate a presentation, re-level text, create a compelling hook. All this is built in already in Google Classroom. This is interesting, generate a presentation. This is a pilot program, but I'm gonna take everybody's email and I'll make sure you're added to the pilot. You might not see this now, but I'll make sure you all have access to it. This will help generate a slide presentation for you. So let's say grade 4, whatever. Civilizations that are ancient, such as Mesopotamia. All right, presentation length, I'm just gonna make it short just for this demo. It's suggesting learning objectives with the presentation. You can edit that, you can add to it. All right, now it's going to generate an outline of what the Google slide presentation is going to look like with like images I can choose from. All right, videos it's suggesting, images that it's pulling from the web. You can choose to modify this however you want. And then it generates the presentation for you, this is wild, man. So like you can put any grade level or content in there. There you go. In what, 2 minutes, it created this unique template that I can use, that I can share with my students. Again, make sure that things are accurate. Don't be lazy about it. Make sure that it didn't hallucinate. Make sure that the information is correct. But you don't have to start from scratch. You can go in, make it your own, update the and you can open this too in Google Slides. You can update this however you want. Change the text, make it your own. So that's in Google Classroom. Okay, that's built into Google Classroom already under Gemini. Okay, thanks everybody. Can you do this in Drive? No, this one you created in Classroom, but then once I made the presentation, once it's done, that's in Drive. That's in Google Drive, and you can modify that however you want. Okay. I'm going to, oops. I'll also put in the chat the link to the CTLE hours if folks need it. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. This is good for 1 hour. So please fill out this form if you need 1 hour of CTLE. Okay. So yeah, this is going to be an amazing year just because you have such a powerful tool that's safe, that's approved, that can help you with your, navigate like your mountains of work that we all have. So all that being said, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'll hang around for a minute if anybody has any questions. And you know what? Like, you can still make your own slides. I encourage you to still make your own slides, but you can use this to really help with that process. Thanks everybody. Robin, thank you. Let me know if you have any questions. There will be more sessions coming up. Feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the chat, santi@projectrecess.org. Again, we're an approved PD provider. If you need support at your school, send me a message and we can help get you set up. Okay. 1 hour of CTLE. Yep, 1 hour of CTLE. If you have any questions, let me know. That certificate should be emailed to you immediately, and then I will send this recording as well as all of the resources. I'll email it to you, and yeah, we'll go from there. Everybody, thanks for joining us. I appreciate when people take time out of their day, especially during the summer. It means a lot. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the
Need to fill out the Google feedback to get the CTLA hours?
No, those are separate. I would appreciate if you did the feedback, but yeah, you don't have to if you don't want to. And same thing with the CTLE. If you don't need it, Don't worry about it.
Okay, so I must have missed the link. Let me go back.
The event name, you can just call this Google AI. This is the, oops, the music's gonna play. This is the official name. Get started with Google AI and K12 education. Okay. Thanks everyone. Yeah. If anybody has any questions, I'm here.
I'm sorry, what is the link for the form to get the CTLA hours?
Absolutely. I'll put that in there. Oh, thank you for reminding me. I didn't pin it. Actually, can I pin this now? Okay, I just pinned it, but I'll also put it back in the chat. There, it's right. I just put it in.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the CTLE hours is in there. The feedback, maybe I'll pin that also. Oh, it's pinned already. Yeah. So yeah.
Hey, hi, Santi. I wanted to ask about the licenses that you were referring to. Is that for us for individual use, or is that for our school admin to purchase?
Admin would purchase it on FAMUS, and it's for individuals. I have a slide on there. Let me get to it. And I'll email this out. Where are it? Admin would have to purchase it, and it's for individuals. Here it is. In FAMUS, that's what it looks like. So it's the GWFE, Google Workspace for Education, Gemini, EDU Premium. So you can use this for free, but if you wanted to take your AI tools to the next level, just beyond that bleeding edge of like all the options, you can purchase. It's $131.98 for the year. And then, you can buy one, you can buy 5, however you want. And then there's an overview. Advanced features in Notebook LM. So you can make more audio overviews, the podcast, you can make more of the video ones. This is going to be cool. This like Meet live voice translations, like what that is. And I've not used that yet. It's incredible. So let's say you're having a parent teacher conference on Meet. They speak Spanish, speak English. When I say the English words, it looks like I'm speaking Spanish on their end. Like they hear Spanish and it looks like my lips are speaking Spanish. So like that's crazy.
That would be great.
Yeah. And then Google Vids, I didn't even have a chance to get to that, but it's a tool that you can use to make videos. And there's an AI option in that. Oh, and then Sheets data analysis. I didn't hear about that. That's cool. So all of this stuff is changing. That's the information if you wanted to buy that license. I'll include this in the email that I sent to you all.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to end the call in about a minute unless anybody has any questions, but this has always been fun. Yes, Gina, we will definitely do more. There's going to be more. We're going to offer more. And John, thank you. Shout out to 118. That was one of the first schools that we ever supported back in the day. Your ms118.info, we helped we helped create that. So
I don't remember how I signed up for this webinar. Was it through the DIIT portal?
Yeah, it was through the EdTech portal. It's through the EdTech portal.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I got it. Gotcha.
Jeannie, thank you. I'll keep an eye out for that email. Jeannie, thank you so much.
So I have a question.
Yes, absolutely.
I know you used Explorer Gym to create the, I guess, pre-programmed instructions, so you don't have to keep going back and copy and paste the instruction.
Correct.
So I do multiple IP reviews.
Yeah.
Now I'm learning to use AI to let them do that instead of I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So in the past I was using Caplot. The only thing was like I could only upload 2 documents a day or something. So I have to use multiple days, but with Gemini, I guess I can do it in the same days. So let's say I had 5 IPs to review. I mean, of course, well, I guess it's because DOE approved. I don't have to redact the names, right,
Yes.
of the students. I can just upload some of the IP review questions, document, and then upload IPs and let them analyze, right?
Yeah.
So with that, like you create the field trip planner, I would probably create like IP review or.
Correct. Yeah, you would create just like example IEP review.
Just for your own safety, I would recommend reaching out to your school's administrator for special ed to make sure that you're not going to do something different because those IEP reviews were because the DOE was sued years ago, and we need to make sure our IEPs are as highly effective as possible. So I would just reach out to your administrator for special ed before you do an IEP review with your Gemini.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
Just to protect yourself. Technically, Santi's 100% spot on, but just for your own safety and legality, I want to make sure that you don't get in trouble for something that you have the best of intentions for.
Yeah, I actually use IP review from the DOE, or actually I support the state, the special education OSC, so that I have their criteria that I use.
Yeah, I would just check with the administrator. Just for technically, what Santi said is spot on. Gemini and Gems can do that, but just to make sure that you are covered, check with your special.
Okay, I think yeah. Thank you. I think I checked on my director, but I'll make sure, because I know that in the past we were talking about using Catalog, but I'm gonna make sure if the Gemini is okay. Thank you.
And Zach, thank you so much for that. And just so I'm more aware of that, because I don't get those questions enough. So what exactly, what would you need to ask the I guess like the person at school?
Oh, me?
Zach, I'm asking Zach.
So the administrator for special ed is a district level person who supports and oversees compliance for special education. So the question essentially would be, hi, are we able to use Gemini or AI to complete our IEP reviews? Each school has to do, I think it's 7 or 6 or 8 per year.
Oh, no, Zach. I wouldn't have like the school teachers or the SIT team do the reviews. I'm talking about for like my own, like, because I'm supporting the teachers in several schools, and my part of the work is creating the quality IPs. So I have to do reviews myself, but instead of like doing like one-on-one by myself, looking at all those documents, having the AI just help me doing that reviews just to speed up my work. That's the purpose. No, I would not actually have the school use AI into IP reviews, because that takes the purpose, defeats the purpose, what I mean.
Exactly, and that's why I was
yeah,
saying
actually,
I don't know the latest.
I had one
anymore.
of the program actually was showing me, well, Ms. Yamaguchi, you know what, why we